The Art of Wordsmithing, narrated by Dr. Benjamin John. A guided meditation. Take a deep breath, friend, and then another. This time a little slower. Let your shoulders ease their grip on the day. Let the noise of the world fall back just a little. You've made it this far, and that's not nothing. Now, if you'll sit with me a while, I'd like to talk with you about something that's been on my mind. It's quiet work, small work, but it just might be some of the most important work we can do. See, in my years as a doctor, and before that as a husband, a father, a son, I've learned this. We don't just speak words. Sometimes words speak us. We carry them in our chest like old songs or hand-me-down coats that never quite fit right. Words we picked up as children. Words whispered to us in hospital hallways. Words muttered under our breath, in the dark and without meaning to. Those words start to shape the way we move through the world. They tell us when to rest and when to run. They tell us who we're allowed to be. They decide, before we even notice, what parts of ourselves we hide. I used to think that was just the way of things, that whatever script I'd inherited, I had to follow it. But I don't believe that anymore. What I've come to know is this. We can change our language, and when we do, it starts to change us. What is wordsmithing? I call it wordsmithing. Now I know, it sounds a bit fancy, but it's not. It's the same as blacksmithing or carpentry, just quieter. It's the art of working with language, especially the kind you say to yourself, not to sound smarter, not to impress nobody, but to tell the truth more clearly. See, I believe words are like metal, soft when they're honest, shaped by heat, by pressure, by love. And if you hold them long enough, if you're real gentle, you can shape them into something stronger, something more true. You don't need a forge for this kind of smithing. Just a little stillness, a little honesty, and maybe a little grace. You've heard of people being good with words. That ain't what I mean. This isn't about eloquence. It's about kindness. Not sweet talk, not denial. Just learning to speak to yourself with the same tone you'd use with someone you love. Wordsmithing is slow work. It's what happens when you notice the words rattling around in your mind and you ask, is that really true? It's what happens when you take a cruel sentence and hammer it into something softer, something usable, something honest. It's how you start to write a new script for your life, one phrase at a time. I've spent years watching people carry phrases like burdens. I just have to push through. If I stop, everything will fall apart. I'm not doing enough. I carried those too. And I want to show you what it looks like to set them down, to turn them over in your hands, to shape something better. Let's begin. Phrase 1. I just have to push through. I've said those words more times than I can count. I just have to push through. 12-hour shifts. Double call weekends. That long stretch after Angela June passed, when the boys were still waking up crying in the middle of the night, and the house was too quiet during the day. push through. It sounds noble, don't it? Sounds like strength. But the truth is, most times I said that, I was already past empty. It became my prayer, in a way. A tired, brittle kind of prayer I whispered when I was too worn out to hope for more. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a time for grit, for sticking with it, for digging deep. But just push through can become a trap. It don't leave much room for noticing, or resting, or asking for help. And it sure don't leave space for grace. I remember one night a few years back, I was halfway through a rough hospital week. My charts were behind, my back ached, and I hadn't had a hot meal or a full night's sleep in days. I walked in the house, quiet as I could, sat on the edge of the bed. Angela June didn't even open her eyes. She just said, "Baby, you ain't a plow mule. You're allowed to stop." That woman always knew what I needed before I did. Let's try this together. Instead of, I just have to push through, try, I'm noticing that I'm tired, and I'm choosing to keep going for now. Or maybe, this moment is heavy, but I can move through it without leaving myself behind. Can you feel the shift from force to choice? From pressure to presence? We don't stop being strong just because we tell the truth about our limits. In fact, I believe that's when strength becomes real. When it's not about endurance anymore, but about care. Take a moment. Now think back to the last time you said those words. I just have to push through. Was it today? Last night? Last week? What if you didn't have to? What if that wasn't the only way? What if the bravest thing you could do was to listen to what your body's been whispering all along? Take one deep breath. Let it out slow. And say this softly, like you mean it. I'm allowed to care for myself too. Let's keep going. Phrase 2. If I slow down, everything will fall apart. This next one is a hard one. If I slow down, everything will fall apart. Now that phrase lives deep. It's not loud. It don't shout, but it's in the background like hum under the floorboards. For me, it started the day after the funeral. Angela June was gone, and I had 2 boys who needed their daddy. I remember standing in the kitchen, dishes piled high, one twin crying, and the other asking me why God let Mama die. I felt the weight of everything all at once, and I thought, if I stop moving even for a second, I'll break. And I don't know if I can come back from that. So I didn't stop. I filled the hours. I packed the schedule. I took extra shifts, told myself I was being useful. Truth is, I was afraid. Afraid of silence. Afraid of sadness. Afraid of what might come loose if I stopped holding everything together. And that fear, it dressed up like logic. It said, keep going. It said, be strong. It said, if you slow down, you'll lose control and the whole thing will fall apart. But you know what I learned? Some things did fall. The lawn got overgrown. The mail stacked up. I forgot a few birthdays. I snapped at my boys, more than I cared to admit. But not everything fell apart. Not the way I feared. Turns out the world don't stop spinning just because I sit down. Let's try a new way of speaking. Instead of, if I slow down, everything will fall apart. What if you said, if I slow down, some things may shift, and that's okay. Or, rest might change my pace, but not my purpose. Or maybe, slowing down doesn't mean letting go. It means holding what matters with both hands. We weren't made to run like machines, and even machines need maintenance. I think about the old hymns Angela used to hum in the kitchen. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Rest isn't a reward. It's a right in the fear that tells you otherwise. It's just an echo. You don't have to obey it. Take one slow breath. Let it out like a sigh you've been holding all week. Now say this if you'd like. I'm allowed to move gently. I'm allowed to pause. And nothing has to fall apart for me to find peace. Let's keep going. Phrase 3. I'm not doing enough. Now this one has sharp edges. I'm not doing enough. I hear this one most from folks who care the deepest. Nurses, teachers, pastors, parents, doctors. People who pour themselves out every single day and still lie awake at night thinking they didn't give enough. I've said it more times than I care to count. At the end of a shift when I couldn't fix a diagnosis. At the dinner table when I forgot to ask my boys about their day. On Angela June's last night when I couldn't take the pain away. I'm not doing enough. It's a sentence that doesn't care how much you've given. It just points to what's left undone. The strange thing is, the more you care, the louder that voice becomes, because the work is never done. There's always another patient, another chart, another load of laundry, another prayer to whisper. But that voice, that constant whisper of not enough, it don't lead to more compassion. It leads to collapse. And over time, it starts to hollow you out. I remember once, after Angela was gone, I was trying to make it all work. Clinic full. Dishes stacked in the sink. Homework unfinished. I was burning the candle at both ends and still felt like I was failing. I told my sister, Ruth, I'm trying my best, but it's not enough. She looked at me straight in the eye and said, Benjamin, enough is not a number. It's a feeling, and you're allowed to feel it. That stopped me cold because I'd never thought of enough as something I could claim. Only something I had to earn. Let's try this. I'm doing what I can with what I have, and that matters. Or, I don't have to do it all to be enough. Or even, I'm showing up with love, and love don't measure in checklists. Now, take a moment. Put your hand over your chest if it feels okay. Breathe in slow, and breathe out even slower. Let the words fall into place. I am doing enough. I am enough. Say it again if you need to. You don't have to wait for proof. You don't have to hit some invisible mark. You are allowed to be full, right here as you are. Let's keep going. Phrase 4. I should have known better. Now, this one cuts different. I should have known better. It's a phrase that don't come out loud most times. It lives behind the eyes, in the silence between breaths. It's what we say to ourselves when something goes wrong, when we miss something, when someone we love gets hurt, when the outcome can't be changed. It's a sentence shaped by grief. I still remember the night I found Angela June's test results on the kitchen table. She hadn't wanted to tell me until she was sure. She was always trying to protect me, even when it was her body that was hurting. And I remember thinking, I should have seen this coming. I'm a doctor. I should have known. I carried that weight for years, believing that if I'd paid more attention, if I'd asked the right questions sooner, if I'd been a better husband, a better clinician, a better man, then maybe she'd still be here. But hindsight can be a cruel teacher. It only shows what was missed, never what was impossible to know. And the older I get, the more I believe this. We all do the best we can with what we know at the time. The person I was back then, he was grieving already. He was tired. He was human. And so is the person you are now. Let's try reshaping that sentence. Instead of, I should have known better. What if we said, I see now what I couldn't see then, and I forgive myself for that. Or, I'm still learning, and that's enough for today. Or maybe, I carry both the mistake and the mercy that follows it. Regret wants to rewrite the past. But grace teaches us how to move forward. Take a breath, friend. Let it fill your lungs. All the way up. Now let it go. Say this if you can. I am allowed to be human. I am allowed to learn. I am allowed to heal. Let's keep going. Phrase 5. I can't show weakness. This one's stitched into a lot of us, especially caregivers, especially folks raised on silence and survival. I can't show weakness. I don't know who said it first, but I know I heard it everywhere. Growing up, in locker rooms, on long car rides with my father, in the way pain was swallowed, tears were hidden. And hugs, well, they weren't handed out too freely. The lesson was clear. Be tough. Be quiet. Don't let them see you bleed. Now I carried that lesson into medicine, into marriage, into fatherhood. I remember when Angela got sick, really sick. I sat by her hospital bed, holding her hand, doing my best not to cry. She looked at me so gentle, so sharp, and said, Benjamin, if I can be brave enough to die in front of you, you can be brave enough to cry in front of me. And Lord, did I cry. Years of it all at once. Because it wasn't weakness. It was love. Raw and holy. I think somewhere along the line we confuse tenderness with fragility. But weakness isn't what breaks us. It's pretending we don't have any. We are human. And humans hurt. Humans need. Humans tremble when they carry too much alone. So let's rework this phrase. Instead of, I can't show weakness. What if you said, I can be soft without being broken? Or, I can tell the truth about what I feel and still be strong. Or even, letting someone see my hurt might be the bravest thing I do today. I want you to hear me when I say this. Vulnerability is not the opposite of strength. It's what anchors it. It's what gives your strength a soul. Take a slow, honest breath. Now whisper to yourself, I don't have to pretend I'm still whole, even when I'm seen. Let's bring it home. Our closing, the forge of grace. You've done good work, friend. Not the loud kind. Not the kind that shows up on charts or gets measured in steps, but the kind that matters. The kind that lasts. You listened to the words inside you. You held them in your hands, and you began to shape them into something truer. That's what wordsmithing is. Not fixing. Not faking. Just forging something honest out of the language you live by. And you don't have to do it all at once. One phrase at a time. One breath at a time. One quiet act of courage at a time. Maybe there's a phrase still lingering. One that didn't get named tonight. One that's still waiting at the edge of your breath. That's all right. It'll wait for you. And when you're ready, you'll hear it. And when you're willing, you'll shape it. Because you're not trapped in the first draft of your story. You are the one holding the pen. You are not what someone else said about you. You are not your worst moment. You are not the sentence you muttered under your breath last Tuesday night. You are loved. You are becoming. You are still being written. So take that next breath and carry your new phrase softly, gently, into the rest of your day or your night. You're doing just fine. Whenever you're ready, you can come back.